Welcome to Unity of Pflugerville. My name is Dee Andrews, and somehow I was volunteered to bring you the Sunday lesson this morning, which is going to be called Time is My Friend, and we're going to learn about that here today. Thank you, everybody that was brave enough to show up for this, even though you read on the newsletter this way it's going to be. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you, each and every one, and I know how forgiving you are, and so I'm thanking you in advance. And a special thank you to invited guests, which are family of mine, and you're going to hear about each of them in my talk in a little while. So I'm just going to go forth. All right. I did entitle today, Time is My Friend. I first heard that little saying when I went to classes at Unity Village to study to become a licensed Unity teacher. And it was very apropos because when you go up there to classes, at the time the sessions were like 3, 4, or 6 weeks, which is a short period of time to cram into a book and lots of lectures and homework and essays to write and blah, 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 blah. And you kind of felt like, I can't do all this because I don't have enough time. You know? And so it kind of gets one stressed out even in a beautiful setting like Unity Village. Okay. And so everybody was walking around saying, time is my friend, time is my friend. Yeah. I believe that time is my friend affirmation was attributed to Charles Fillmore. He's got it in Adam Smashing Power of the Mind. I'll look it up. Lots of unity in the students here nodding their heads. Yep, that's where he is. Okay. There's a wonderful, beautiful singer-songwriter named Enya. She's Irish. Yeah. She said something about time that I absolutely love. I'm sorry if I keep touching that. I'll try not to. It's the prayer hands that get me. Okay. She said, who can say where the road goes? Only time. Who can say where the day flows? Only time. Time is an observer of everything. And time, if we let it, can teach us. But where does time come from? Well, we think it comes from God because everything else does. And we as human beings, we like to measure time constantly. You know, we've got all these setups, little ways of measuring and everything. We worry constantly about how much time we have and how we're going to use it, and is anybody going to interfere with it, and things like this. The truth is, time is one of the gifts from our God. Therefore, it behooves us to use it wisely, to respect it, to be thankful for it, and to, more than anything, be good stewards of it. So, in Psalms 90, verse 12, it says, teach us to number our days that we may gain hearts of wisdom. Teach us to number our days that we may gain hearts of wisdom. Well, how do we do that? How do we number our days? We have ways of saying our days anyway and dividing them up into groups. How do we number our days, or how do we count our days or spend our days so that our hearts grow in wisdom? Well, I think that the more we sing or speak or pray silently or meditate on the goodness of God, the more we strengthen our connection to the Spirit within. Oops, did it again. Yeah. So I think that's where it is. Someone important in my life once said, "We cannot pour water from an empty pitcher. Therefore, I will use today to refill my pitcher." Makes sense to me. Yeah. And we can do that by singing, speaking. We've been doing that already today, haven't we? On the goodness of God. Let that be our focus. Let that be our being. Let that be what we shine out. As most of you know, I was a school teacher about 32 years and taught all kinds of different subjects and everything along the way. One of them was American history for a few years. And when I'd get a new class, I'd tell them, okay, we're going to start, as we go through this book, you know, unit, chapter by chapter, whatever, we're going to start making a timeline around the top of the wall with little strips of paper. And each little section of time is going to say what went on that was important in that period of time that we studied. And so the whole purpose of this was to get a few of them up there and then to start looking at this and saying, are we seeing any repetition here? Are we seeing certain things repeated? Certain events, certain progress that we've made, certain problems that our country has been involved in, and what does this all mean to us today? So that was why we did that. And I could see from the way they responded to me, the things that they were able to pick out. Because in my class, I just could care less if they could remember all those dates and all that stuff, and I didn't care if we were taking a test and they were looking up there, copying it down. It didn't make me a bit of difference because that was not the important part. To me, the important part was to know that, oh, this is something that cropped up over and over again. What did we do about it? Okay. All right, so I realized that there was some value in doing that, and so I decided, last month in this very church, y'all sang happy birthday to me because I turned 79. I said, well, that's 78 years. Well, that's a long way around the ceiling there, you know. But I'm going to look at my own 78 years and see, what have I been doing? Who have I been becoming? And what does this all mean? Okay. So anyway, I did. So y'all are going to get a condensed version of that, okay? I'm not going to go through every single day of my life, but I could if you wanted to. I was born and raised in Odessa, Texas. Stayed there until I finished high school. We were very, very lucky, my sister and I, to have fabulously loving parents. We didn't have a bunch of money, but boy, we had a bunch of love and plenty of good food. Odessa turned out to be a good place to grow up, you know, because it was a safe place. We could do our roller skates and bicycles all over the whole entire town and be perfectly safe. And during those years there, grew up with a little brother, and when I was 7, finally got a baby sister. And she is right here. I love her to pieces. She is my dearest friend. And her sweet hubby, Lonnie, is an extremely dear friend of mine too. Okay. Oh, I have a note here that I wanted to tell you a little story about when I was a very young child. I have a very vivid memory of this occurring over and over and over, starting at age 3. I can still feel it. Feel myself holding my daddy's hand, walking down this long wooden hallway of the First Methodist Church in Odessa, Texas. He was taking me to my little Sunday school class every Sunday, and I loved going in there, y'all, because every Sunday we sang these sweet, sweet songs that just made me feel so good, you know. Jesus loves the little children, you know, all the children of the world. Yes, I love that song. And Jesus loves me. Oh my goodness, I love that song. quite frankly, I didn't have a clue what was the difference, Jesus and God. I don't know. It didn't make any difference to me. It felt really good. I knew that whoever or whatever it was, they loved me. It felt really good. And that was kind of strengthened by the earthly love of my earthly father. And I loved that. Okay. Childhood done. Graduated from high school. Excuse me. After this, I went off to college, and I went with two goals in mind. Maybe some of you in here can relate to this. Two goals. Get a degree, because my family was threatening me if I didn't. Secondly, get married. Okay, well, check. Did them both. Well, the degree is fine. Used that. But the husband, that didn't work out so well. We were living in the state of Louisiana at that time, and we called it quits. I moved back to Texas. Oh, that's yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And in Texas, I did what it says right there. I taught school, and also I went to grad school at night and did that. And I got married again. And it didn't work out either. Okay. So after that happened, are we okay? After that happened, I was beginning to wonder, is something wrong with me? Am I doing something, that didn't work so well? And maybe I need to, and y'all, this was the 70s. And I don't know if you remember that much, but the 70s were self-help. Boy, discover yourself, I'm okay, you're okay, all of that. So I spent lots of time going to seminars and workshops and this and that and the other and try to fix myself. And in the process of doing it, someone said, maybe you want to go to Unity Church. I said, oh, okay, fine, let's do it. So went to Unity Church. Oh man, I was in love. I mean, different kind of love than those two husbands. Love. I felt like this was what I needed. I knew it was. It was Spirit spoke really loud to me. And so I liked it so much that I said, well, I'm just going to start going up there at that Unity Village. I'm going to take me some class. I'm going to be a licensed Unity teacher. Maybe I'll kind of work in a church or something someday. Who knew? Who knew? Okay. So, at the same time that I'm going up there to that Unity Village, taking those classes and everything, I had to do it in the summertime because I was teaching school, during the regular part of the year. But I'd go in the summertime and met up with a man from Dallas who was also going back and forth. He was taking classes to become a Unity minister. Well, you already know the story. So we started dating. We got married. But guess what? This one was right. Yes, 37 years right. Would still be going on today. But he was older than me, and his time came, and he passed on 2 years ago. Well, I'm going to tell you about something that happened during our marriage, though. Not long after we married, a group of Unity ministers from the Dallas area came to us, and they said, we really would like to put a Unity church in the southwest part of Dallas, because there's been one down there. They knew that from the Daily Word subscriptions and stuff that there were definitely prospective members down there. So we said, ooh, I don't know if we're ready for that. We just kind of finished our credentials and and anyway, we said, okay, we'll go. We figured we would go for a couple of months because we might could dream up that many talks and meditations, but we weren't sure past that. But we told them, you need to be looking, we don't know that this is a real deal for us. You need to be looking for somebody permanent, to go down there. Well, I think that we learned that lesson of experience is a good teacher, because experience taught us. We stayed there for 15 years. Yeah, because we loved it. And it became the baby and the child of our marriage. We didn't have toddler children, we had a church. And I guarantee you that'll teach you plenty too. Okay, we retired in 1999 for only one reason. Because we had an opportunity to start a new kind of ministry, new for us. And that ministry was taking care of Ben's aging parents. He was an only child, and we were it. And so we moved him into our home with us in Dallas and took care of him. And that was quite a learning experience too for both of us. His mother lived only a year. She was a bed patient. His father lived to be 103. Yes, he kind of, after she passed, he kind of got new life, and boy, he was wonderful part of our family. And so we learned a lot in that project. And everything that I learned from helping to take care of those two gave me what I needed to know how to take care of Ben when that time came. Ben's my husband. Okay, so it was, once again, it was a blessing. Somebody knew what I needed and wanted, and somebody provided it. Thank you, God. Following Ben's passing, I became involved in volunteer activities in the Hutto area and everything. So I just kind of like to help. And I met a friend who is here today, and she and I became good friends. And we used to have a lot of heart-to-heart talks, you know. And we shared with one another things that were kind of dreams that didn't ever get realized in our lives, prayers that we thought maybe weren't answered or wouldn't be answered. And so this is Becky Lou, I call her Becky Lou, and Becky said she grew up without a mother. That's a hard thing for a girl. It really, really is. So that was her unanswered prayer, her dream unfulfilled, to have a woman that would be in her life and lead her. And I shared with her that I had an unanswered prayer too. I wanted children, and medically that didn't work out. And so I really, especially more than anything, wanted a little girl. And so Becky and I made an agreement. I am now her mom, and she is my daughter. And you know, a lot of people, they become moms at age 20 and 30. I'm sure there's a reason for that. But they do that at age 20 and 30. I did it. I started doing it at 78. Go figure. Okay. But if you check in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 22, you can learn that when the time is right, the Lord will make it happen. When the time is right, the Lord will make it happen. And so it is. So, and we're both very new at this by just a few months new at this, but we're working it out. This is fun. It's really fun. Now here's the bonus on that deal of setting up this wonderful relationship with Becky. I get a granddaughter in the beautiful Heather that absolutely, literally took my breath away when she's leaving my house a few nights ago, and she hugs me and she says, "Good night, Grandma, I love you." And I went, "Oh!" She called me Grandma? And I think I even said to you, "Do it again." Y'all, it just went off in my heart. And Becky and Heather have a husband and father, Rick, a wonderful man who is now my son-in-law. He couldn't be here this morning, but I claim him still. Yeah. Okay. I know I did a whole lot of talking about self. Everything that I said to you on that personal timeline is, if I had to break it into units like you do in a classroom, it would probably be based on educational goals. I have lots of educational pursuits, still have them. I'm still learning, I'm in school, mom's school. But educational pursuits, personal relationships, and spiritual growth. And so that's kind of been what's happened the last 78 years, which feels like it's kind of all coming together in one package now, because I'm 79 now. Okay, and that's what happens. Get ready, okay? So I want you to know that in no time of those 78 years that I outlined for you did I ever become unaware of the presence of God. Y'all, from the time I was 3 years old, holding my daddy's hand that I talked to you about, all the way through my life, it's felt like something is holding my hand and not letting me go way far off the path, but letting me choose, being there with me as I chose, being with me in the celebrations, being with me in the love and the losses, just living right in my heart as in unity we say, the Christ Spirit within me, it indwells me, just as I know it does for you. Yes, all my life He has been faithful. Oh, so good. Mm-hmm. And so I will sing of the goodness of God. I want to leave you with a little quote out of the book. This is from a Unity minister, Jim Rosemary. I don't know if you see those. Jim was I guess you'd call it the assistant head of the school at Unity Village when I went to school, and he taught a few classes too. He writes, "I sleep in His peace, I walk in His joy." Nope, I said it wrong, y'all. I'm going to start again, okay? I sleep in His peace, I wake in His joy, I walk in His light, and am warmed by His love. And all that I am or ever will be is all because God lives in me. And so I say for you, you sleep in His peace. You wake in His joy, you walk in His light, and you're warmed by His love. And all that you are or ever will be is all because God lives in you. Thank you, my dear friends.